Hi everyone, this is Mindy Eggen and welcome back to my channel. I have another STAMPtember collaboration to share with you today. This one is from Pink and Main called Love You Snow Much. Now this one is exclusive to Simon Says Stamp and only available while supplies last. These adorable snowmen are back. I remember these similar to last year where it's like this marshmallow snowman, and I really wanted to create a winter scene with them. Now, I have had this winter lake die in my collection for a while. This is from Waffle Flower, and I hadn't used it yet, and I thought it would be the perfect scene to use with a couple of the images from this stamp set. I also had brought in a Merry Christmas die, also from Waffle Flower, but unfortunately, I could not find it in the Simon Says Stamp shop, so I'm not sure if it's still out there or discontinued, but I will link to something that is very similar and I had actually considered for the front of my card. I am starting out by stamping a couple of the images in some jet black ink. I'm stamping them onto Espresso cardstock, which is what I like to use lately for my Copic coloring, since I did plan on coloring these in with some alcohol markers. And I'm going to try and make this coloring pretty easy only by using a couple shades for each area. For my marshmallow snowmen, I am using BG11 and BG10. I didn't write these down, so I'm going to try and remember which colors I used. Snowmen, though, I find actually fairly easy to color in. I only add a little bit of shading to one side or in any shadow areas. Now with snowmen, you could use a light blue like I did here. You could use even like a bluish purple, would look really good, or even a really light gray. I'm doing the top hat and the penguin with N8 and N5. So really trying to keep this fairly simple by only using a couple shades for each blend. Another way to keep it simple for me and even for viewers if you're watching this is stick to your basics, meaning, if you struggle with coloring or struggle with picking out colors, just stick to the basics. For instance, here, I am just going to go with traditional Christmas colors. So I'm going to give my snowman a red scarf, and then I'm going to give the penguin a green hat. I actually meant to do vice versa, but it is what it is. It still works. So sometimes, if you're struggling with picking out colors, just go with traditional. Start with that. And then as you kind of learn the image and where to color and what you liked for shading, then pick out some different colors and expand. Now I'm also bringing in a light pink to add a little dot for some rosy cheeks. Here I'm bringing in some shades of green to color in the scarf and the hat for the penguin. I did also add a little bit of that light blue to the penguin's belly. I'm not going to do anything with the rim of the Santa hat that penguin is wearing. That was just really small. I didn't think it needed to have any coloring. And then I have the sled. So I'm adding my darkest shade, which I think was an E39. I went around the snowman and then kind of at the bottom here for the front, and then anywhere that I think a shadow would be casting. So right by that penguin, I feel like a shadow would be, and then just kind of blended that out with remaining colors, which I think was E37, maybe 35, and 33. Now there are coordinating dies that you can purchase for this. I happen to have a scan and cut, so I did use my scan and cut to cut those out. I personally prefer dies, but I did not have those on hand. Then I am die cutting that winter lake scene from Hammermill Cardstock. So like I said, this is the first time I'm using it. I hadn't used it before. And I normally will start things with white cardstock. So in this case, I kind of pieced it back together like a puzzle, and that's really how it goes. You can die cut it multiple times from different colors of cardstock to achieve different colors throughout your scene, like brown cardstock for your trees or green for the pine trees in the background. I decided, since I already had this die cut, that I would go ahead and just do some ink blending. And an easy way to do that is I brought out the sticky mat that comes in the stamp wheel. I will be 100% honest here. I'm normally not a huge fan of sticky mats because I just have a thing about staining. But for one, oxides don't stain. And two, it was really, really helpful in this type of position because those tree branches get pretty fine, and this really does hold the dies in place. So I went in and I ink blended these trees with brushed corduroy and ground espresso in the Distress Oxides using a blending brush. Now to clean this, I'm just taking a stamp chamois and wiping that clean because this is the same material that your stamps are made of. Now I kind of patted that dry with my hand, and then I'm going to come in with, I believe this is a bundled sage, and then a little bit of shading with Rustic Wilderness. I will have all of these supplies and colors listed down below in my video description and over on my blog too if you ever want to reference that. Now for the lake, I'm going to be doing, I think it was Salvaged Patina. And in hindsight, kind of looking back on it, I kind of wish I would have die cut this from maybe some glitter cardstock, or even added a little bit more shading to the lake to give more differential between my snowbanks and the lake. I hope you know what I mean. I wanted to separate that out a little bit more. It all still works out, but just looking back on it, there are some things I would have done different. And that's just how it is when you start a product for the first time or you've never used it before, is you kind of just, like I said, stick to your basics. You just add some light blue to the snowbanks and your iced up pond there. And then looking back, you can go back and do it again and change things. Now here I need a background for my trees. So I brought in tumbled glass at the very top. I flipped my cardstock, and on the other end, I'm bringing in shaded lilac. You can see I tapped off a lot on my work surface because that was super juicy. I did not want it to be that bright of a background. Now with that winter lake die, it does cut out areas that you can do a die cut inlay and put that sky back in, but I wanted to have an ink blended background. So that blended panel is going to be my base, and I kind of laid everything out on how it would attach to the front of the card. I found it easiest to start at the bottom and work my way up, really putting this together like a puzzle. So I started with my bottom snowbank, and I'm coming in with my icy pond or my winter pond, my winter lake, and then coming back in at the top there with another snowbank. You could see the color, it does separate them a little bit, but I really do think I would have maybe done the snowbanks out of white glitter. That would have been really pretty too. To adhere all of these, I am just using a tape runner. Those branches were really fine at the top, and I just purchased this, I don't know what else to call it, but a glue gun, because I can't remember the actual name. But it's this new product from my Sweet Petunia where it's already got that glue tube in there. And I was trying that out, and I gotta say, I am so klutzy with it. It is a wonderfully designed product because there's a silicone kind of tab that the tip rests on. So it's supposed to help prevent clogging of your glue, which I loved that concept. I just feel very klutzy. It's very big for my hand. I'm used to a small, fine tip glue bottle. So I think I just need to get used to it. I love the concept of it, and I think it's a great design. So just need to play with it a little bit more. So I finished filling in my scene. I added foam tape behind my snowmen, but I noticed my trees did not line up at the very top. So I just trimmed that off with my paper trimmer. It's still going to measure 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Then I removed the backing of my foam tape and I added in my adorable little marshmallow snowmen. And now for my sentiment. I am using a glitter pack from Memory Box, just choosing any type of red glitter cardstock here for my sentiment. I really loved this Merry Christmas sentiment from Waffle Flower. As I stated though, I could not find it, so I'm not sure if it's retired, but any type of Merry Christmas sentiment would work at the very top. I just really wanted to have something big to fill in the top area of the cardstock. So you could use the sentiments that are included in the set, or if you have something in your stash that would work. So I die cut out Merry Christmas from that red glitter cardstock and 2 more times from red cardstock, layered that together with that liquid glue, and then placing it right at the top there. Now I had debated about adding the shadow layer behind it, but I thought that would kind of take over my scene just a little bit too much. I thought about maybe doing it from vellum and just really, like I said, stuck to basics and left it as is, just using the die cut word for my sentiment. Now I'm putting in some finishing touches, taking a white Jelly Roll pen and adding little highlights to my little cute snowmen. Now I have this really fun winter scene all complete. Like I said, this is exclusive from Simon Says Stamp with Pink and Main, available only while supplies last, but I hope you are still able to take some techniques or any tips that I shared throughout the video and use them in your future card making projects. I want to thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you again soon.